Hey, how you guys doing? For this week's video, I'm going to discuss on probably what's eventually going to be my next workstation for utilizing being a creator on YouTube and for occasionally some paid jobs, documentaries, and things of those nature. Now, kind of going back before I'm going to discuss the um, what I think I'm going to be using, which I've changed my mind already on. Well, anyway, going back to the 2009 Mac Pro, which is, of course, the older cheese grater, which still runs. I've had to actually kind of hack into it, or actually added a firmware update, which allows me to use some newer Mac OS operating systems, newer versions. Now, unfortunately, I can't do that anymore. And as far as it's actually using the older Mac OS, which is 10.14 Mojave, which I cannot upgrade anymore without it. I think I had problems with the next version. It wouldn't. It would crash, so I ended up having to put back Mojave. Now, which also means I can't update my favorite video editor, which is Final Cut Pro. Because you need a minimum of Catalina. So you need at least 10.15, which I cannot upgrade to. So I can still use it with the older version of Final Cut Pro, or I can put DaVinci Resolve, still works fine. And some other applications won't work on it as well because it needs newer versions. So this kind of brings me to my current Mac workstation, which is a Mac Pro 2013, which I actually bought in 2015, so it's about 6 years old now. And now, unfortunately, it's not officially supported, I believe, by Apple anymore. They consider it discontinued because, of course, the 2019 Mac Pro came out. Now, it was supported as far as a new Mac OS, which is Big Sur, and of course, all their other software such as Final Cut Pro, Motion, and so forth. Of course, I don't know if they're going to support the next version, whatever that is, or even it may get one more update, probably not much after that. It still has quite a few years left in it to continue to edit videos and things of those nature. So I thought, well, what I'm going to do once I'm going to have to get a new computer. I can't afford the 2019 Mac Pro, the 6000 base model, and I'd probably have to still upgrade the graphic card more than likely. So I for a long time, I said, well, I'll just go back to a PC desktop using Linux and DaVinci Resolve. I don't like Windows, so I thought, well, how am I going to do this? Because Linux is kind of tricky, and especially getting DaVinci Resolve installed, because I think there's only 2 supported distributions of Linux that is officially supported by DaVinci Resolve. One of which I think they discontinued, and somehow they're using some other one up to this point. But considering Linux is very hard installing DaVinci Resolve, it kind of led me some other options. But you know what? Considering that the M1 Mac, as far as the Mac Mini, and they're going to be coming out with a M1 Mac Pro as well. I'm going to be taking a look at the Mac Mini, because really it is so powerful right now. Especially 1080p, 4K, easy, perhaps even 8K, maybe. Especially on the timeline when you're editing, it's very fast. Now, of course, if you go with the 8 gig of RAM version, there probably is going to be some problems. So, which means I'd probably have to look at the 16 gigabytes of RAM option. And if I go along those lengths, I think it'd work out pretty fine. Now, I've heard there might be some issues as far as maybe rendering out. That's a different story. In fact, maybe even the 2019 Mac Pro is a lot faster exporting and rendering, but we'll see. So, which it looks like more than likely I'll be going with the M1 Mac Mini. And of course, that's not even talking about the next generation of M1, which I believe is M1X or something along those lines. And so by going with that, um, I think I would continue. I'd still be able to use myself on a Mac platform, which I prefer, and I also prefer as well Final Cut Pro. As much as I like DaVinci Resolve, I think there's certain aspects that's not quite on par with Final Cut Pro. For instance, some of the plugins, which is getting better in DaVinci Resolve, but things like audio, for instance, Final Cut Pro uses a lot of the Logic plugins, which are excellent. For some of my paid plugins won't transfer to DaVinci Resolve. I'd have to rebuy them. In fact, I just updated some of my plugins for Final Cut Pro. They're all updated. And some of the other transitions and some other things aren't nearly as good as in DaVinci Resolve simply because you have to go with the paid version as well, which I wouldn't mind going with the paid version DaVinci Resolve at $300. But still, it's not quite enough, I think. So that would be my most best option. And I probably need to get away from the tower mentality where you have to upgrade inside and all that. Because the M1 Mac Mini or even M1 anything in the Mac desktop is more than powerful enough, I think. And it's been leaps and bounds revolutionary in things like video editing and probably some other things. Of course, I need to pay attention on what's supported as far as the M1 Mac for plugins. I have to watch out for as well. Of course, I can transition from my 2013 Mac Pro, still use that until I'm sure everything's going to be transitioning to the M1 Mac eventually in software, even third-party software. So those are kind of my thoughts on going forward with the future, on what computer I'm going to be using. So give me your thoughts on that as well. So thanks for watching, and see you guys later.